Hey guys, Thrasher here. I see a lot of people are having some trouble with the 2.5 million damage Rising Rush challenge in the Frieza Hard Mode event. I have a guide for it. Let's talk about it right now. Okay, so for all of these guides where I do 2.5 million damage in Rising Rush in all the different events, I try to make sure that I use a team that is fully free to play. I define free to play characters as characters that you can get through means other than using Chrono Crystals. So if you have to use Chrono Crystals to get the character, they are not free to play. With that being said, I do run a free to play team first, and I don't quite get the 2.5 million, but that's because I did a few things wrong, and I'll explain what I did wrong, how you can change them to get the 2.5. I'm close enough that you can easily see it's doable. We'll explain it in just a second. And then the second team is not fully free to play. There's two characters in there that are not free to play. The reason that I suggest not doing the free to play team unless you absolutely have to is just because the characters are so weak. It's hard to get yourself to the point where you're set up for the Rising Rush. It's not because the Rising Rush itself is not doable. With that being said, let's talk about the team. It's going to be on the right, and then the gameplay is in the center. What you're going to notice here is the team is pretty much the same, whether it's this first team, which is the full free to play, or the second team, which you'll see in just a second. The way this works is you're going to have your primary blue unit who is going to be doing most of their Rising Rush damage through their blue card, and then you have Shallot, whose only job is to make sure that right before your main character uses their Rising Rush, Shallot needs to use his main ability to increase the damage of all your characters, and then Shallot needs to die. Before that, the red Super Saiyan Goku needs to die as well, so that way whoever your primary character is, your blue character, they're the only one alive. The red Goku's only job is to make sure that he takes care of the yellow Frieza for you, make your life easier, and he's on the team to buff your primary unit's strike damage, because both of these characters that I'm going to be using, the free-to-play version and the blue Fist Coup, do get a large damage buff by increasing their strike damage. Now, the thing is, like I said, most of the damage is going to come from the blue, but the way you want to do this is don't worry about getting a blue card right away. The first thing you need to do is kill the final form Frieza that's yellow, kill the third form Frieza, the big long head one, and then the one that you want to Rising Rush with your blue character is the second form Frieza. He has the lowest defenses, so you can do the most damage to him. The other major things, like I said, make sure Shallot gets his main ability off, make absolutely sure that other than your blue main unit, everyone else is dead. That's going to massively increase your damage. The other major things, for either Spirit Bomb Goku or Fist Coup, you absolutely want to get a couple green cards off. As you'll notice in the Spirit Bomb version, I didn't get a green card off with Goku. That is a 15% damage buff. What you'll see from his damage is I'm just under 2.1 million, so I need just over 20% more damage. Two things to note here. Shallot's buff actually ended before I Rising Rushed with Goku, so that's going to be somewhere around a 15% damage increase, and then the green card that Spirit Bomb Goku should have used, but I just didn't use one, is also a straight 15% damage increase. So those two alone are going to get him there. Another thing that I could have done to increase his damage, to get well beyond 2.5, is the blue card, which is at the very end, gets a 20% damage reduction, because the first card you use in your Rising Rush is straight damage, the second card is a 10% damage reduction, and the third card to the right is a 20% damage reduction. So we would have easily got over 2.5 million if I would have actually had Shallot's buff still up and running, if I would have used a green card with Goku, and if I would have made sure the blue card was in the first slot. Okay, so that's that team. Like I said, it can work. The real major issue there is that it's just so hard to set this up with these free-to-play units because they're weak. They're not tanky at all. Now let's switch over to a team that actually has one premium unit in it. Okay, so with this setup, you can see the equipment on the side. And here's the main thing, is the equipment that you put on your Super Saiyan Goku Red and the equipment that you put on your Shallot doesn't really matter. The only thing you want to do there is make sure they're as tanky as possible so you can more easily set things up. So give them lots of health. The only thing that matters is on your Spirit Bomb Goku or your Fist Coup that you're giving them the equipment items that give them the most special move damage, because like I said, that's where the majority of your damage is coming from. And the setup is the same here. You want to kill the final form Frieza, kill the third form Frieza, and then worry about setting everything up. Once those two are dead, what you want to focus on is make sure that you have a blue card ready to go for your blue Fist Coup once your other 2 characters have died, and also make sure that you get off the main ability for Shallot. As you'll notice in this footage, it was perfectly timed because I had everything almost completely ready to go, and then the second form Frieza decided to Rising Rush me. I used my main ability on Shallot, which gives him the health back, which kind of messes with the timing normally, but the Rising Rush essentially killed him. I let Shallot die, and then all I had to do with the Fist Coup was use his main ability to draw a second blue card, and then make sure I don't select the blue cards in the Rising Rush. As long as my opponent doesn't select the card I select, it's gonna absolutely annihilate 2.5 million damage. And that's really all there is to this challenge. If you guys have any extra questions, throw them down below. We'll talk about them. I'm sure there's a bunch of little nuances that you might have questions about, but this is the majority of everything you need to get this done reasonably easy. And that's really all I have for this video. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.